Yet another member of the Biden administration has resigned over the Biden administration's unwavering support and weapons shipments over to Israel. Now, the special assistant to the chief of staff in the Interior Department officially became the first Jewish Biden appointee to step down in protest of the war in Gaza. Her name is Greenberg Call. She had worked for the presidential campaigns of both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Interestingly, she was a longtime activist and an advocate for Israel in Washington and elsewhere before joining the government. So this is not an individual who is, well known for her ferocious critique of Israel. She's actually someone who has a background in being an activist on behalf of Israel. Now, Call wrote in her resignation letter, "I joined the Biden administration because I believe in fighting for a better America, for a future where Americans can thrive, one with economic prosperity, a healthy planet, and equal rights for all people. I have dedicated my career to candidates who I believed would further this vision. However, I can no longer, in good conscience, continue to represent this administration amidst President Biden's disastrous continued support for Israel's genocide in Gaza."
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
She used the word genocide, which I think is an incredible thing to do as a Jewish American, as someone who has a background, doing activism work on behalf of Israel in Washington. And so again, I can't imagine the kind of backlash she's dealing with. I know what kind of backlash we've dealt with for covering the story the way that we have for using the word genocide and describing what's happening in Gaza. It's incredibly brave of her to resign. I mean, we're talking about her livelihood and career, but also to do so in a way that is, demonstrated in this resignation letter. "People in my community lost loved ones during Hamas's attack on October 7th. Beloveds killed, displaced and taken as hostages. I am terrified by rising anti-Semitism around the world, and yet I am certain that the answer to this is not to collectively punish millions of innocent Palestinians through displacement, famine, and ethnic cleansing." She also told the Associated Press that she took issue with how the Biden administration has spoken about Jewish Americans, essentially lumping them all together. By the way, I want to be clear. I have a problem with anyone in any group lumping Jewish people as the same, or lumping any ethnic group or race as the same. And I've seen a lot of that go on. Please don't fall for that kind of disgusting mentality, okay? Please judge people as individuals and never lump people together and assume that they're all the same based on their identity or race or nationality. It's a huge mistake to do that. Now, here's what she had to say about the Biden administration. In her words, basically speaking about Jewish Americans in a way that she did not appreciate. Call pointed to comments by Biden, including at a White House Hanukkah event, where Biden said, were there no Israel, there wouldn't be a Jew in the world who was safe. And at an event at Washington's Holocaust Memorial last week, in which he said the October 7th Hamas-led attacks that triggered the war were driven by an ancient desire to wipe out the Jewish people. So in regard to that, she says, "He is making Jews the face of the American war machine, and that is so deeply wrong," she said, noting that ancestors of hers were killed by state-sponsored violence. And I haven't weighed in on Biden's statements, the statements that she took issue with, mostly because the war in Gaza has had so many different details that we wanted to report that some of the statements from Biden, I think we've allowed to kind of fall by the wayside. But I want to make a statement about what he had to say about how Israel is necessary because Jewish people aren't safe anywhere else in the world. I mean, do you think America isn't a safe place for Jewish Americans to be? What a ludicrous thing to say. But anyway, she says the following. She said that the US support for the war overall is an issue. I think the president has to know that there are people in his administration who think this is disastrous, not just for Palestinians, for Israelis, for Jews, for Americans, for his election prospects. And I think Lily is right about that. I mean, when you look at how Biden has continued to lose more and more support among key voters in the Democratic base, we're talking about Arab Americans, Muslim Americans, many of whom reside in a swing state like Michigan. When you're looking at young voters who are now split 50-50 based on the polling between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, I mean, this is not good news for Biden. And he has shown an unwillingness to really hear out Democratic voters who are demanding a ceasefire. And while he had claimed that they were halting weapon shipments to Israel, as we had reported to you yesterday in a breaking news story by the Wall Street Journal, the Biden administration has just approved another $1 billion in weapons transfers to Israel. So I don't know if the timing is a coincidence. That news story broke yesterday and Lily decided to resign and put out this open letter today. But regardless of what the final straw that broke the camel's back was, I do want to show her love and solidarity for doing something that takes a tremendous amount of courage, but also really does end up sacrificing her own career and livelihood. I mean, so much respect for her speaking out the way that she has. And I hope she's okay. And I hope she knows that we here at TYT back her 100%.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.